being recorded. And the reason being for that is if there's anything that you missed or you want to go over again, you're always free to reach out to Javin and myself, but also we'll have these links available to you as well. The individual in recruiting, he puts those up online so you can see them after we're done. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to hand the baton off to Dr. Syed, who's with us tonight. But first I want to introduce myself. My name is Scott Mensch, and I'm the Chief Academic Officer here at the school, and I oversee all the academic programs. And in this meeting, how many of us are doctorate students? How many people here are in the doctorate program? Okay, Tamara. How about the master's program in cybersecurity? Okay, Stacy's DIA as well. Okay, really important. Once you get into the programs, if you have any issues at all going forward, textbooks, classes, whatever it may be, please always come to Dr. Syed or myself first. And Javed, if you can give them the contact information at the end for you and I as well as Dr. Rao, I'd appreciate it. And that way, everyone, I'd highly advise you take a picture of it with your cell phone or write it down on a sticky note somewhere you can keep it throughout the duration of your academic program. That way, when you have issues, you can easily get a hold of us so we can get those issues resolved for us. Because you have to remember, we're all working remotely. I'm in Pittsburgh. Dr. Syed is down in Morgantown, West Virginia, and Dr. Rao is out in Louisville, Kentucky. So if you go through the school, they then have to go through us, and it just takes that much longer to get you an answer. So if you come directly to the source, which is us, we'll be able to help you a lot faster. All right, with that, I'm going to go ahead and hand the screen off to Dr. Syed. He's going to kind of walk you through the general format of the program and how the programs are laid out. He's going to show you a sneak peek at what the course room is going to look like so you're familiar with some of the content areas that you're going to see. And also he'll talk about preparation for each week, and making sure you're ready for classes each week. Yes, Jeff.
Scott, can you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Can you keep on talking just for a couple more minutes? I'm trying to get everything on the screen, so just give me a couple of minutes, please.
Okay, that's fine. It's shared with you. So actually, maybe I'll steal a little bit of Dr. Syed's thunder here at the get-go. I cannot stress this fact enough for any new student. Make sure you're scheduling your schedule appropriately each week. And what I mean by that is inside the course, and Dr. Syed is going to show you where it's at. I actually made a page, like a helpful tips page for students. Find an area that's quiet, somewhere where you can study. Block out a period of time when you can just concentrate on your coursework, because you're going to have a lot of different variables pulling on you as you're going through your classes. And what I mean by that, work, family, other responsibilities and requirements. But if you schedule this stuff out beforehand, it makes life that much easier. And one thing you have to remember, everyone who you're going to have as a faculty member, they were in your seat before at one time. And I can remember whenever I was in your seat, I was working third shift, working 6 nights a week, and going for school for 8.5, 9 hours on my day off. And raising 3 young kids, I had to have everything mapped out. How I was able to do it is every Sunday I made my schedule. I knew what was coming up, and I was able to schedule accordingly. That's not saying that's going to work for everyone in this room, but I guess I'm going to challenge everyone here to find a system that works for you, right? And then stick with it. By far, without a doubt, the hardest class you're going to have is going to be the first one. And I say that because you kind of have to get back on the bicycle again and get used to what it's like to being in the classroom. Right? But just like anything else, trust me when I say this, after that first 8 weeks and you get through that first course, it gets a lot easier from there on out. Because once you have the bicycle up, it's just a routine after that. Any questions for me at all? I can't make you the presenter, but you should be able to turn your mic on.
Scott, do me a favor.
Yeah.
Can you log into, because there's some problem at my end, it's not letting me log into the Blackboard.
Okay, don't worry about it, Javed. I'll just do it myself. I'll run through it.
Okay.
Bear with me here, everyone. I'm going to get my screen shared with you. And we'll get my PowerPoint up for you, then we'll go ahead and start getting through this. And one more second, I got to hit 2 buttons and we are ready to take off here. All right, everyone, let me know if you can see my screen that says University of Fairfax, and it should have orientation. Let me know if you can see that.
Yes, it's visible now.
Okay, great. Dale, Tamara, can you guys please mute your mics? If you want to talk, you can go ahead and unmute them. But for right now, can you just hit the mute button on, because I'm getting a little bit of feedback on my end. Thank you.
Mine is definitely muted, but I'll go back on mute and hopefully that'll work.
Okay. Yeah, it's just a little bit of kickback I'm getting through my speakers. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to run through what the course layout is going to consist of. Now, whenever you go into a course, you're going to see it's laid out in 8-week terms, and you're going to have 4 modules and 2 weeks for each module. So we're going to have an 8-week format. And I'm going to show you here in a couple minutes what this actually looks like, because I'm going to go through a class that's going to be running here very shortly in a couple of days. And some of them may be set up, some of them may not be set up, and I'm going to try to pick one that you should be able to see all the content inside of it. Now, the 2 weeks, at least one discussion topic is going to be held each week. Very, very important. In these discussion topics, make sure you're applying research to the discussion. And I don't mean to say this in a mean way, but we're not really looking for opinion. We're looking for factual information that you found. So make sure you're using the library. Make sure you're using good academic references in your discussion topic, and make sure you're being very, very thorough as well. And then for each discussion topic, you're also going to be required to have 2 detailed comments. And what I mean by that is, if, let's just say, for instance, I was in the course room and I said, "Hey, Paul, good job. I like what you said. Nice work." I would not, as a student, expect to receive credit for that comment, because it has to be something detailed. If we were doing a discussion question on project management and the topic was on the recent iPhone, or not the iPhone, the Samsung issues they had with their phones overheating and exploding, and Paul were to type something out, if I reply back to Paul saying, "Hey, Paul, that reminds me of a recent incident with Droids whenever their phones were overheating," and then I can go into all the money that they lost on research and development, overproduction, that would be a detailed comment. So make sure when you're getting into these discussion topics, you're really digging as deep as you possibly can, so there's no avenue left untraveled. So when your faculty member goes and they look at that discussion, they can see expansion, they can see growth, and they can see that the topic was thoroughly covered. Now, your assignments, you're going to have 1 sync session assignment in the 2 weeks and 1 project deliverable. Your sync sessions will be held in weeks 2, 4, 6, or 8. Okay, or I should say 2, 4, 6, and 8. And they'll be held either on a Thursday night, Friday night, or sometime on Saturday. And we try to hold these later in the evenings because we don't know if our students are going to be logging on from Miami or somewhere out in Los Angeles. So with the time zone change, We are going to schedule these later in the evening, and your faculty member will have that information up as soon as you log into the course room. In the resources that you're going to see, you're always going to see PowerPoints. All right, your faculty member may also be putting additional videos. There's a section in the courses called a bibliography, so there's links to other helpful resources as well on whatever topic you're covering that week. All right, and again, just like the discussion boards, make sure you're participating in those sync sessions. And with the sync sessions, what's the format is going to hold is you're going to have an assignment, and then once you go into the sync session, you're going to be questioned on that assignment. Right? So you're almost going to have to almost defend your work and justify and explain the rationale and the research that you conducted. So you really have to be prepped whenever you go into your sync session each week. And if you did the assignment, you're going to know what it's on. But just be ready to cover it again. So if you get the sync session done, let's just say 4 or 5 days early, I would advise that you go over the material again right before you meet as a form in that sync session. All right, make sure you're aware of all the due dates. I tell new students, mark it in your calendar. Make sure everything that's due is marked at the beginning of each week so you know what milestones you have to hit to be able to get that work in on time. This is a real biggie. Your email, make sure you're in your email on a regular basis. You may have your faculty members emailing you things. I can tell you right now that the school will be sending you emails at various times where you have to perform certain tasks. So make sure you're on your email on a regular basis. And then this is a good one right here, asking questions. Okay, I'm going to give you the number for tech support. I'm going to give you the contact information for myself and for Dr. Rao, who you're going to be interacting with a lot, as well as Dr. Syed that was in earlier. And with us, any questions for me at all?
One of the things that I was going to remind the students was try to get the discussions early in the week. So this gives an opportunity to the other students and to instructors as well to respond. But if you try to come in at the end of the week, then basically the other students may have already posted, and you either get a chance or the instructor may not get a chance to hear from everybody else.
Yeah, exactly. The earlier you get in, the more beneficial it's going to be to you. And Java, just as a reminder, I believe students have to be in by, is it Wednesday night in the main discussion post?
Yes, that's what we should try to do. But I still propose try to get in even earlier than that, because that, one of the key things about the online education is trying to engage you, trying to give you the feeling that you're in the class. So if you try to be active, check your emails every day, check your blackboard every day, try to get in and respond to what is being asked. So that engagement you will begin to enjoy and you will begin to learn a lot more. Because you can raise questions that the instructor can answer. So that the instructor may ask you to expand on something that is in the discussion that you have already posted, but maybe for the clarification, or maybe the instructor is pointing out to something that you may have look for something. All those possibilities are there. So engagement is very important.
Yeah, and trust me, the more that you put into it, the more you're going to get out of it at the end. Now, I'm sharing some information here with you on the screen. I would highly advise that you fill this information in your notebook, or even if you take a picture of it with your cell phone. Javed, can I get your number real quick?
Sure,
304?
695.
Okay.
8434.
8434. And there's mine up top.
8434.
84.
No, one more back. 3434.
343. I'm sorry, Jeff. How's that look?
That's good.
Okay, yeah, I'm having a little bit of a hard time hearing you. You have a little bit of an echo going on there. And with Dr. Rao, I'm going to have to look her number up. Do you remember the old days whenever you used to know everybody's phone number off the top of your head? And the contact list officially did away with being able to remember phone numbers. Okay, here we go. And Dr. Rouse, she's going to be at there we go. But again, if you have questions moving forward, please always bring them to me first. Please don't go back to any of the admissions people or anyone else that may have helped you get into the program, because if you go to them, it's just a weighing game for them to get a hold of us, and it kind of just slows the whole process up, because eventually whatever question you have for them, it's going to come on my desk. So if you just reach out to one of us directly, that will speed and expedite any issues that you may be having, so we can quickly be able to address your concerns. All right, if anybody wants to use the audio to ask a question, go ahead. I'm going to pause here for about 30 seconds if there's any questions out there before we get into the Blackboard tour.
Okay, can you hear me, Scott?
Yep, perfect.
Yeah, I was having a hard time understanding Java 8. I'm not sure it's with everybody else, but it was very muffled. Honestly, I couldn't make out anything it was saying.
Oh, I could, but he's in the background. Basically, what he was saying in a nutshell, discussion boards, even though you don't have to be there until Wednesday night, that doesn't mean that you should wait till Wednesday to get started. Be proactive. Get in the discussion boards as early as you can in the week. Make sure that you're in there every day. I mean, look at the announcement board, be in your email. Then it takes a second just to log in, see if there's any new announcements out there. See if anything there's new that your instructor's putting up for you that you may want to know. Same thing with discussion board comments. Those 2 comments aren't due until Sunday. So the main post is due on Wednesday, 2 comments on Sunday. But if you get in there on Sunday and you post your 2 comments, let's just say 11:55 p.m., and you ask questions of other students, that doesn't give them time to reply back. So make sure you're getting in there early so that discussion board can grow. And so there's any areas that may have not been covered, you have a better chance of being able to cover that new content if you get started earlier in the week. Did that help you out a little bit? I know Java was a little bit muffled, maybe because he has 2 logins, but basically that's what he was getting around when he was talking earlier.
Scott, so can you, so the discussion board is back on the Black, sorry for my naivety. I mean, this is something new for me. I'm coming back to school after a really long time. So the discussion board is the Blackboard portal. And
yep, I'm gonna look at it right now. Do you see the Blackboard portal up online?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so this is what I'm gonna do next. I'm gonna walk you through that. Right now, these announcements are not populated. It says no announcement found. That's because this course is going to be built and ready to go by Thursday. So whenever you log in here, you're always going to see announcements, and you're going to see different information. Right off the get-go, the first day, everyone don't feel overwhelmed, because I can tell you right now, when you get in here, you're probably going to see 5 announcements maybe with a whole bunch of information. After that, it kind of slows down a little bit. You'll have 3 to 4 announcements throughout the week. But that very first time you log on, you're probably going to have some lengthy announcements, because the expectations, goals, objectives, sync session times, that's where all the information is going to be found at.
Okay.
So if I come in here like to the course module, and we'll look here first. If I come into the course module, here we have those modules like I told you about earlier. The 4 modules, each one consists of 2 weeks. So we'll just click on module 1, and this will cover weeks 1 and 2. And see your discussion board post right there? All right, so this is where you would come in and you see all your discussion boards. And you see your discussion boards there for the 8 weeks. You would just, if you're in week 1, you would go into that week 1 discussion. And then what you could do there is hit on create thread. And then you just start typing your information in. One thing that we ask, don't use any attachments. Just go ahead and type your discussion post right in here, all right? That way, whenever the faculty member and other people go to look at it, it instantly appears on the screen. You know, you can imagine if there's 12 people in the class and everyone's putting an attachment up, it gets to be a tedious process to open those attachments up. So you can just go ahead and put it right here in the body. Put your subject in. When you're done, you go down here and hit the submit button, and you'll see it will populate in the discussion board area. Same thing, if you come in here and you start seeing threads, let's just say for an example, I come in and I see Stacy has posted, I would click on her link and I would see her discussion post, and I'll have a button there that says reply. That will give me an opportunity to reply back to Stacy's discussion board post. But this main area in here, every Wednesday, you want to make sure that you're in no later than Wednesday putting that main discussion board post up, and then no later than Sunday with your 2 detailed comments. So I'm just going to back out here a little bit. If you have any questions for your instructor, I always advise people to email your instructor, but you can also leave a question here. There's a cyber cafe, so if any topics you want to bring up with other classmates, you can leave it in the cyber cafe. One thing you have to know about the Ask Your Instructor, that's an open forum, which means everyone can see what you're posting. So if it's anything private or personal, you always want to reach out to your faculty member via email. But if it's just a general question, even something that may help the rest of the class for clarity, you can always leave it in that Ask the Instructor area. And that's nice because once you click on it, you see all the discussion boards at one time. All right, so if I click on the Module 1 resources, as long as she put them in here so far, there we go. All right, we have your different policies and standards that you can click on to be able to open up additional information. Your sync session assignments, here, like I told you earlier, they're going to be in weeks 2, 4, 6, and 8, all the oddball weeks. All right, and there, it tells you a little bit more about what's going to be due for that sync session. And then if there's any exams and quizzes, which there are going to be throughout the class, this is where it's held. Okay, so week 1 quiz, week 2 quiz, and then once you would open this up, you'll start going through the quiz. And we even tell you what chapters that quiz is going to cover. Quizzes are going to be multiple choice, and they could vary in length. And if you have any issues, technical issues, like a pop-up blocker may stop your exam or some content from coming up, we also give you the email address right there, as well as the phone number in case you want to call them directly. And basically every single module is going to be laid out like this. Okay. Any questions on that aspect or that end of it?
So Scott, I mean, what you're showing us right now, we're not exposed to that yet because it's not available, right?
That's right, correct. Don't hold me to it, but I want to say you get access in on Friday, and once you get on Friday, this is a class that's going to be running next term. The only thing this one's missing right now are the announcements.
Okay.
If we go down here to the UOF resources tab, this is where I told you before. I said there was helpful links and tutorials. So if you come down here, this will be populated with different content. And the faculty member will put this in here. So like this class is on security policy and planning. There'll be different hyperlinks taking you out to tutorials where you can read up for additional information. It's going to help you. It's just above and beyond what's already in your textbook. All right. The link for the library is there as well. If we go into the Student Resource Center, all right, any documents, resources, online services, textbooks, tips for success, Blackboard how-tos, tech support. Like, notice here, we give you the tech support number all over the place because if you have issues, we want you to be able to find it quickly. But again, I highly advise everyone to write that phone number down because you may have a tech support issue that doesn't even let you into Blackboard. And you may not have this later on. So you may want to write that 888-410-6109 option 3 number down in case you need it in the future. But like up here, if I would click in the documents, all right, the student handbook is out here. If you're, it's a dissertation course, the dissertation handbook is out there. different resources available for you. If you're planning a vacation or travel, all right, and this is one of the first things I did when I came on board is I laid all this out. So, you have the academic calendar all the time. You have financial aid links. You have a link to the library, an explanation of what the tuition and fees are. This is like a one-stop shop for all the resources that you're going to need as a student as you're going through this program. Now, a lot of this area we point out to it in multiple places. Eric Rector, he's our librarian, so if you have any questions for Eric, his email's there as well. You can reach out to him with any questions. Your faculty contact information, right now, this is probably not going to be populated, but once you come in here, and she'll take this off later. Sometimes there's duplicates. This instructor will take it off once they come in, but you can send your faculty an email. Once you get into that area, you can click on the email, and then you can then select whichever users you want to send it to. If you want to do a select users or all users or certain groups, you can do it from here. And right now, again, like I said, this isn't going to be populated. The only person that's in here right now is myself and Dr. Rao. She's going to be teaching this class. Back out here a little bit. Your faculty information, once you click on this, your faculty members' contact email, their office hours, their phone number, all that's going to be populated in this area as well. Now, you're going to have a little bit, there's one thing I really can't show you. It's the student grades. This tab is going to look a little bit different because this control panel down here where it says course management, bottom left-hand corner, you're not going to have that. That's something that faculty have. But all these other things here you're going to have, all right? You want to go see what your grades are, you can go into the My Grades area. Different course tools, if we click under there, all right? If you need help with any of this additional stuff, there's a whole bunch of additional resources out here as well. All right, how-tos, helpful tips. And there's one item I missed here. Where is it at? Oh, there it is, your assessment criteria. So rubrics are used for each one of the assignments. Right? So you can click, for example, for a discussion board rubric, if I were to open this up, and give me just 1 second. Let me open up my discussion board rubrics. All right, I know it's hard to see. It's going to be easier on your end, but this explains to you exactly, I mean exactly how your work's going to be assessed. And you're going to see these rubrics again in the grade book after your faculty member assesses your work. All right, but it breaks it down to mastery, exceptional, competent, developing, and unacceptable. All right, it also breaks it down by each element that you're going to be assessed on. Example, the overall analysis, the contribution, the timeliness, the number of responses, mechanics in writing, or your APA and your grammar. Right? So we're not here to trick you in any way, shape, or form. We're giving you all the information up front so you know what the assignments are as well as what the expectations are and how your work's going to be assessed. And also all the sync sessions, all the assignments, they'll also have rubrics for those as well. The grading policy will be out here, grading philosophy, so on and so forth. So this way you know exactly how your work's going to be assessed moving forward. All right, well, we typically like to keep these to about 30 minutes of us talking and open up this additional time for any questions that may be out there. So if there's anything you want me to look at again or go into more detail, we're just going to go ahead and open up the floor for questions. Yeah, Javid, you're really, really muffled. I'm having a hard time hearing you.
Okay, just remind them that if they have a problem with the course itself, their first contact should be their instructor.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did that earlier. Yeah, I covered it.
Okay, good.
Yeah, and what Java was saying there, always make your instructor your first point of contact. So if there's any issues in the class, always go to your faculty member first. And then if for any reason you still have additional questions or concerns, then you can come to one of us after. But usually that's what we always ask students to do, is because we don't want you kind of jumping over the instructor and coming straight to us, because 99% of the time the instructor could resolve any issues or ask any questions. But I said, if you're not getting the resolution there, always feel free to reach out to us afterwards. And I know it's going to be overwhelming. I know it because I've been there before. But like I said, after the first 8 weeks, everything will start to slow down. I would give yourself ample time every week. When we talk about how many hours that you're going to need to prepare for this program, and it's right there under the course expectations here. 3-credit course. It's going to require 45 hours of online academic engagement, 90 hours of preparation time. So, I mean, simple math, you can divide that by 8 to be able to calculate how many hours each week that you should be working. It may be a little bit less some week. It may be a little bit more some weeks. It just depends on what deliverables are going to be due for that week or that module. But the biggest hurdle is just getting yourself on a schedule. Getting yourself on a schedule by far is going to be more difficult than learning the content. And I know a couple people jumped in and said, this is the first time they've taken a class in a while. But again, trust me, it's just like anything else. Once you get used to it, you get in a rhythm, you'll be good to go.
Hey, Scott?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is Paul. Massive echo. The test username and password for my email account isn't working.
Okay. That would go through, let me think about this. So it's your email, not your Blackboard, right?
Correct.
Okay, I want you to reach out to, I'm going to give you the email here just in 1 second, because I want to make sure I'm giving you the right one. I know you're going to have a hard time seeing it, but can you read what's on my screen there? It's desktop support,
Yep.
at an.edu.
All right, let me grab a picture of that.
Yep, sure thing. I have more pictures on my cell phone of reminders than I do actual pictures of people, my kids.
In here. Because the email is the one that you sent out contained in the Word document, correct?
No, I didn't send anything out. Maybe the school sent something out. What link are you going to try on your email?
Yeah, I apologize. It is to the Blackboard that I'm having issues, not the email.
Okay, that's going to be a different email address then. Okay, that's going to be right there. It is for you. That's going to be Blackboard support. Okay. Blackboard support, all one word, at an.edu.
All right, got it. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. All right, and like I said, if questions come up later on, always feel free to reach back out to me. I live on my cell phone. If I ever see I don't have voicemail set up, but if I see a missed call, I will always get back to you. And at least for me, those numbers were up on the screen earlier. You can even text me on that line as well. Just kind of tell me who you are, what program you're in, and what your question was. All right, in that end, I'm going to go ahead and end the meeting so we can get these archives and recordings up to the people who need them to be able to post them out online. Everyone, I wish you the most success, and again, we're here to help. So if you need us, always feel free to reach out to us, and good luck in your first class that starts on Sunday. Have a good night, everyone.
Hey, Scott, I have a question, Scott.
Yeah.
What time's class Sunday, sorry? We'll get the information via email, right, as far as the class?
Well, it's Sunday at 12:01 a.m. The class should be available. And every week closes out on Saturday night at 11:59 p.m.
Okay, gotcha. All right, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. All right, everyone, have a great night. And again, if you need me, we're always here for you. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.